let's take a look at our top selections for Dan Illman, Mike Beer. The Apple Blossom Week Stakes action begins at Oaklawn Park on Friday afternoon with race number 7. Let's take a look at the field of one of two stakes races for Arkansas breds. This race kicks off a 50-cent pick four. It's the $150,000 Rainbow for 3-year-old males. The 8 Blame JD is your 5-2 morning line favorite. Blame JD was the beaten favorite last time out.
Yeah, beaten favorite last time in a race that just had a really fast pace, Dan, and he couldn't get forward. And they actually felt like he ran pretty well in there, even though he lost. I do think he's the horse to beat, but man, he does not have a huge edge on this field.
I'm curious to see how this pace projector plays out. I do agree with Timeform that the pace will be fast. I'm not sure after what we saw from Blame JD last time out that he could lead in a fast-paced situation. I do know Goodnight Archie, the 1 is fast. Dusty Hill appears to be fast. Navy Seal, the 3 appears to be fast. I think there's going to be some pace up front. I think Blame JD is going to try to come from off of it again.
Yeah, he'll be forward, I think, more forward this time, Dan, but, maybe he won't be able to make the lead. I wasn't sure about the pace necessarily. I think the 1 does have speed, but he doesn't really look like a blazer to me. I feel like the 2 is the horse who could make the lead in here. He's exiting the same race as Blame JD last time, and the pace was just too fast for him.
Goodnight Archie, the number 1, did go gate to wire pretty much in his most recent start, his maiden win. Let's watch that effort on March the 19th. Set legitimate opening quarter of 22-1. He has the lead turning into the stretch. He doesn't need to change leads to win this day over Navy Seal, who might have had a little bit of a worse trip.
Yeah, I mean, neither one of them necessarily is finishing very hard in this race, and they're both pretty tired. That's Goodnight Archie, who, again, is refusing to change leads there in front. He's going to come over. He actually bumps Navy Seal a couple of times in the stretch here. The stewards looked at it. They didn't make a change, but they certainly could have. This horse is okay. We'll see what kind of price he is. I thought his debut was sort of deceptively good at a really big price. His second start when Blame JD buried him, I didn't think he ran as well. And his win last time, I mean, it's just not the kind of race that I really wanted to bet him back off of.
Dusty Hill, the number 2, he might be dirtied up a little bit because in his last 2 starts, as you mentioned, Mike, last time out just chasing a very fast pace. The time before completely overmatched against Open Company in the Gazebo. Go back 3 starts, very competitive 77 Beyer speed figure when facing no challenges after shaking loose early.
Yeah, this is a dangerous horse in this race. He ran a really fast race when he broke his maiden. He actually ran well in his career debut also, even though that was a maiden claimer at Delta. And his other 3 races are pretty easy to make excuses for, and that includes the last one, Dan. I mean, just go back and watch it. That horse, Heritage Park, is really fast, and this horse tried to make the lead in there. He just got outrun, and he got very tired in the stretch, but he might not have such a hard time up front this time.
After finishing second to Goodnight Archie, the number 3 Navy Seal came back to graduate over wet going in this race on April the 10th. And while the pace wasn't fast, it was very contested early. Navy Seal was the innermost of a 5-ply pace duel. He survives it, and he just holds on under Calvin Burrell.
Yeah, his figure declines in winning this race, but he actually ran a lot better in this race than he did 1 start prior when he missed by a nose. As you mentioned, he went with speed in this race, and so did about 4 other horses, and he had to fend all of those horses off, which he did in the stretch there. As you see, the horse that was running at him late sat an absolute perfect trip, and just Navy Seal would not let him get into the race. I thought this horse ran well last time.
Perhaps the number 4, Mrs. Beans, is a bit class compromised, claimed for only $10,000 3 starts back. But if the pace is fast, Mrs. Beans might come with a kick. Let's watch Mrs. Beans' last race 15 days ago. Far behind in the stretch, he's in the white silks with the green shoulder pads, and he's making up a little bit of ground in a little bit of traffic. I like the way this horse kicked. It just wasn't there.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I mean, we'll see what happens. They're stepping him up in class for this race. It just feels like he's facing a much better field here than he did in this race when he just missed.
Top Road Rules is the number 5. This horse still a maiden, but he does have a little bit of early speed. And in his 1 fast track race 2 starts back, I thought he did some good things. He was pushing the pace 4 wide. He ended up second best to Blame JD. If you don't think he liked the wet track in his last 2, maybe you can give him that excuse.
Yeah, you could. I just didn't love his last race. Then he's in that same Navy SEAL race we just talked about. And this is another horse. He was trying to be part of that pace. He was wider, obviously, than Navy SEAL was contesting it, but he got very tired in the stretch. He was really no match in there. I guess his first two starts give him some kind of chance.
Rolling Fork steps up out of a maiden claiming victory. Here's his graduation in March. He went to the lead and he was able to really control his own pace. He opened up an easy advantage on the backstretch. He's going to just draw off with impunity in the lane. I really have a lot of questions as to what's behind him. He looked very good winning this race, but you have to think the waters get a lot deeper on Friday.
Yeah, I think they do too. He did win this race very easily, though. And I also respect the fact that he's just improved with each start so far. So maybe he's just one of those horses who just keeps getting better with racing. He also goes for a very good trainer. There are things to like about him. I feel like the things to like about him are mostly the intangibles, Dan. And he's not getting an early lead in this race like he did last time.
There was a lot working against the 7 Ghost strategy in his career debut. First of all, they were debuting him going 2 turns, never an easy task. And second of all, he just did not break very well and ended up a country mile behind the early pace. He actually passed a couple of tired horses in the stretch. He was claimed out of that race, turns back, adds blinkers. I can see him improving, but they found a tough spot for his second start.
Yeah, they really did. Cutting back with blinkers on. We'll see what he does in here. It's always interesting, I think, anyway, when first-time starters get claimed, because it feels like the new connections at least saw something that they liked at some point, either in works or in looks. So we'll see what happens with this horse. It just feels like a tough spot.
Blame JD was a gate-to-wire winner 2 starts back, and as you mentioned last time out, he was just out-sprinted behind that fast pace. He made an early move, splitting horses into the teeth of it, turning into the stretch. He flattened out pretty badly in the lane. It'll be interesting to see if he can stalk outside and kind of get first run on the true closers.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's the horse to beat. He ran better than it looks on paper in his last race, Dan. It was just a situation for him, especially the first time in his life where he got outrun to the early lead, and they just went too fast for him early. He actually made a nice run around the turn. He was clear in second through the stretch. He just got tired at the end of the race. All in all, he probably ran the second best race that day. He just got tired late, and a couple of closers came and got him.
Aspen Club completes the field. We saw him finish 4th behind Mrs. Beans in that April the 1st race. Up close to the pace, made the front, tired. A little bit disappointing as he was dropping in class that day.
Yeah, that's what made it hard for me to like him. I mean, going back to his career debut, which is his only win, I mean, he ran a figure that day that would make him competitive with this field. We'll see if he can rebound.
Top pick time for a competitive edition of the $150,000 Rainbow Stakes. You're going with Navy SEAL, Mike. Again, he took a lot of pressure in that last race. I have a feeling he can sit just off horses here. If the 1 and the 2 go, why can't he sit the catbird seat?
Yeah, I think he can sit that kind of trip. We'll see. I thought he took a step forward last time, Dan. Again, even though his figure declined a little bit, I think he ran better than it looks on paper. I'm not against Blame JD. I think he's the horse to beat, but I put him second.
I want to use Navy SEAL as well. He's my 3rd pick, but I think Blame JD might trip out this time, a little bit closer to the pace, stalking on the outside and ready to pounce, turning for home. 3-8-2-1 for Mike, 8-1-3-6 for me. It's the Rainbow, one of 2 stakes races at Oaklawn on Friday. Good luck.